Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're listening to us from in this world. Welcome to another episode of Footprints. Footprints is a podcast that tells the stories and leadership journeys of our elders and also gleans their wisdom about how they are managing and thriving in this season of their lives and what advice they have for us. Our guest today is Dr. James R. Tumusiime. Dr. Tumusiime, you're very welcome to Footprints Podcast. And I'd like you to tell our guests a bit about yourself. Where does your story begin?
Thank you very much. It's a long story, and I've been meandering through life, sometimes without a clear direction. So I started off only in secondary school. I was very good at science, good at fine art, good at English. I did very well at O level. Then went to A-level and did sciences. Then went to university and did a Bachelor of Science in agriculture. That time, agriculture was very fashionable in our time. Because when you graduated, they would give you a car and send you to a district, and you help farmers to grow modern crops and modern animals. But after about 5 years, Uganda caught fire in terms of politics. There was a lot of fighting and
It was a
chaos.
time. What?
1980. I finished Makerere in 1976 and worked as a planning officer for the Ministry of Animal Industry and Fisheries. And so we're advising farmers and planning for the government. So in 1979, the government was overthrown. So when the new leaders came, there were so many conflicts, a lot of acrimony, and some of us took sides. So as soon as the Obote government came to power, there was a bit of witch hunting of people who were not supporting it. And I was one of those. So I had to leave the country quietly and go to Nairobi and registered for a master's degree. But surely that was a guise. We just wanted to go and see how we could have an impact on changing the government. So we formed the National Resistance Movement, and I was an activist. I was a member of the external committee. And for 5 years, we were mobilizing resources. And the war was going on here. So in 1986, I came back. And when I was there, I couldn't get the jobs I wanted in agriculture and economic planning. Instead, I went into writing. So the newspapers took advantage of my writing skills. And I used to draw some comic pieces, very popular.
Yes.
So
Do you still have them? Or?
I just like,
Yeah.
no, I don't have examples here. It's now almost 40 years. So, because of my association with the print media, when we came back, the government gave me an assignment to be the founder of the New Vision newspaper as the founding editor. And this I did successfully. I was joined by other teams, and we ran the newspaper for 11 years. I was the deputy editor-in-chief. I brought a specialist, an editor, an Englishman, William Pike. We worked together for 11 years. So I retired from that job. But I had already started a publishing house. in 1988, Fountain Publishers. There was serious scarcity, huge scarcity of books, reading books, school books, children books, general books. So I found a gap in the market there. So I decided to concentrate all my energies and publish. And for the last, now how many years it is? For the last 35 years, we've published almost 5,000 titles. That's including children books, school textbooks. We publish for Uganda and Rwanda, some for Southern Sudan. We sell others in Kenya, we sell others in Tanzania. Then we collaborate with international universities in the US, in the UK, in Germany. If you look around there, you see all those books. They have signatures of professors from the US, from Britain, and the old people who used to write books, but they went out of print. So we brought them back into print. Yes. So that's what I've been doing all these years.
So one would think that or maybe it's a myth.
Yes.
We're often told that scientists and writing don't mix. So how did you find that?
Oh, that is really a myth.
It's a myth.
Because the person who lured me into writing, Mr. Hilary Ngweno, was the editor of the Nation newspaper in Kenya. It's one of the biggest newspapers. He was a nuclear scientist, so a nuclear physicist. Hilary Ngweno. Yes. And very many scientists are writers. Yes. Because writing and science are two different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you said that you found that gap in books. Yes. So how did you make the leap from
moved from the newspapers? Even when I was the editor, I used to find part-time to do part-time work in book publishing. I started the company Fountain Publishers, and my wife and my other relative were in charge of the day-to-day administration. So what I did was to do co-publishing. That is, content is developed by authors. Authors write. So I hire editors, and then when we have done the book, we have edited the book satisfactorily, we take it to printer. So our job would be to source content, package content by editing it and illustrating it, getting it printed, storing it, marketing it, and getting some returns for the author. That's what your publishing is all about. Yes.
You leaped us right into secondary school. So what was your primary school like? Where did you grow?
Well, I started in a school called Chinoni Primary School. That's about 15 miles from Mbarara on Makerere Road. That's where we used to live. And after finishing P8, in our days, that is 1966 when I finished primary 8, that was our PLE. Then I went to Mbarara High School, where I did 4 years for O-level. Then I went to King's College Budo, where I did 2 years. Then Makerere University. Yes, mainly after that, I started doing small courses here and there until I did a master's, then a diploma in journalism in the UK. I kept on picking up qualifications from different institutions to perfect my skills.
And how and where does Igongo fit into the picture?
Igongo now, the way I have a book, I have written a book. It's a kind of my biography. What makes Africans laugh? And the subtitle is Reflections of an Entrepreneur in Humor, media and culture. So, this book will tell you the whole story.
Interesting.
It will tell you the reason why I emphasized laughter. Because when I was vending my comic strips in Kenya, they resisted the strips, thinking that only whites should draw cartoons. They didn't believe Africans can draw cartoons to make people laugh. I said, yes, I can also make people laugh, because I used to draw cartoons here. Because most cartoons are millionaires in the West. So finally, some editor of the Nation ventured and allowed me in to draw the cartoons. And as soon as I started drawing, the whole country caught fire. Everybody was saying, where did this one come from? Where this one? Eh? So if you look inside here, when I was trying to explain, I picked some newspapers, the Nation newspapers, when they were saying if you look at this page, there were so many letters praising the cartoons. So when I did the cartoons, and
You are the Bogi Benda.
that's right.
Oh my goodness.
I used to be Ekanya here, then I did Bogi Benda.
You are Ekanya. Oh my goodness. I sometimes used to read the newspaper just for Ekanya because
Now you are one of my fans without knowing.
do you still draw?
No.
Oh, plus I was going to ask you to draw me one last one.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I miss Ekanya.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And the young people here would understand our fascination anyhow. But they do have their...
So now,
Yes.
from cartoons, mainstream newspaper writing, from newspaper writing to books, all those relate to people.
Yeah.
People's values, people's tastes, people's fears, people's anxieties. We are always talking about human beings, whether you're writing about the news, political news, the hard news, crime, or whether you're writing about fashion, whether you're writing about farming, whether it is all to do with people. So in the end, you find that you are capturing the culture of a population. Now, in Western countries, publishing is regarded as a cultural activity. That's why we are the ones who preserve the culture of a nation. Books preserve the culture of a nation. And now you discover that books are presented in text and illustrations. But there are people who want to see things that you make an impact if you see a sculpture. The reason why I delayed to come, I had gone to supervise. We are recreating a picture of one of the Ankole kings who died in 1895. He was not photographed, but he was described. So here we had to recompose his picture, and we are trying to take it to the museum. So you find that if you are doing books will take you to these museums.
Yes.
And other what they call memory centers. And that's how I landed in Igongo. But I started in radio. I also started Radio West. Because we wanted all the senses. You want to capture the visual, the audio, and other aspects of human culture, human endeavor. Yeah, that's how I ended up creating the Igongo Cultural Center Museum. Yes. I think now that was the pinnacle. I was able to capture a story in the books about the museum, about the eclipse in 1520 AD, which historians used to determine the kingdoms in this region, when they scattered roughly. Because we've heard about Bachwezi.
Yes.
So who were the Bachwezi, we don't know what they were, but the actual Bachwezi, the real people, now the local population, started to rule themselves after Bachelor around 1500 AD or 1480 something. Many from the people invaded from Bunyoro, and they found the Bachelor, whom we don't know where they were, Kushites, and they intermingled and they created kingdoms. So there's a lot of history which you thought should be captured and recorded for future generations. Look at how people used to work, how people used to love, how people used to regard beauty, how people used to regard bravery, how people used to eat. So all those, we wanted to capture them and put them in one memory center at Igongo. Yes.
Will there be others? Is that
museum?
That's very beautiful.
Well, he set a precedent. Even when I started the publishing house, there were no publishing house in Uganda. There were international publishers who used to come here to publish books for schools, because that's where the money is.
Yes.
Oxford University Press, Heinemann, Cambridge University Press, Longman. So when I started Funkin Publishers, which was 100% local, other people, other Ugandans, other East Africans started realizing that you can actually publish books from here. So when I didn't start the radio, I found other people had started, but mine was the first strong local language radio station that we started, the Radio West. Is still the strongest in that region.
And has quite a wide coverage.
Yes. And again, there we were able to capture people's feelings, aspirations, sentiments, talents in music, talents in the... So again, it gave a voice to people. Then from there, that's when I moved to the museum. Again, we capture people's imagination, bringing out those charts of kings, going back to employ artists who recreate the way people used to dress, the way people used to sing. Now we have created a number of singing. We created songs and dances, and some of them we have even registered them with the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. Yes. So when you start, other people follow.
Yes.
I think there have been an attempt to have a museum in Bunyoro, I think in Busoga, in Uganda. Here they have the Semabili Museum, which is which has been set up by a colleague of mine who used to work in tourism. And I think many more. There are quite a number of community museums. At least we demystified the belief that only the government could build museums. But that's not true. Yes. And that museums must only be about politics and stuff. Because people have football museum, that people have got Jewish museum, you find people sitting up, fashion museums. So it's very easy. So we can just try that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's very amazing. And I think I wrote here that for me, how I would summarize your leadership journey is that you've been a pioneer.
Yes.
In many aspects. But what is it like when you're the first one to go? What fears do you have? What are you wondering about? Or are you excited by new things that nobody else has done?
Yes. Sometimes when you venture, you get that the challenge drives you. You are focusing on, you look at the possible success and how much it would yield, and the disastrous failure, the consequences. And sometimes I am guided by some quotations I've read. They say the problem in when you walk alone, when you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, to go far, walk many. Now, if you want to go far, you will still need many people. But many people can't allow you to go fast. So you can, in your first venture, you dash and you experience those problems. But when you succeed, because of the benefits of pioneering, the rewards and merit. The really rewards that come in. Because I gained a lot from publishing the newspaper. I did very well in the book industry. I did very well with the radio. The radio I sold it to government at a premium fee. Yes. So there are benefits of being a pioneer, but there are also dangers. So you need to think a lot to make sure that what you start doesn't fail.
Wow.
Yes.
And when you look back at your, when did you first embrace leadership, or the fact that you're a leader? When did you first, tell yourself, I am a leader, so
In community, if you want to establish any enterprise, I call this enterprise.
Yes.
Any enterprise requires what they call the 7 M's. The 7 M's require about mission, clarity of mission. What am I going to achieve? If this mission succeeds, or if this enterprise succeeds, you look at the mission. After looking at mission, then you look at what we call the method. How am I going to do it? We look at the method of doing it. If it's for a radio, you have to buy this, buy this. If it's a book publishing house, you have to look at this and this. Sure. Then after looking at that, then you have to look at the materials to use. What am I going to use for this mission? And the next important thing is the manpower. The manpower, you need people to work with you. You can't do it alone. You look around. Then, of course, the tools or the machines. Machines are different from materials. Materials could be like things you are going to use to shape, but tools and machines are a little different. They're technical, very technical. Then the last one usually is money.
Oh, yes.
The last M, the others, you look at the mission or market, you look at the materials, you look at the method, you look at machines, you look at the manpower, you look at management. Then lastly, you mean the money. So once, whatever you consider, you must think of the 7 M's of what you're going to use in that enterprise or mission. In that case, the mission is at the beginning, what you are trying to do. So you look around for people to work with you. Sometimes you don't have the resources, so you may go for the bank and they borrow from friends in the same asset. You get the money and put them there. So once you put those people together, you need to lead because you are the center of gravity. When you need the leadership skills, yes, build a team, understand the growth curve, where you fall, you storm, you perform.
Yes.
You deform, you reform. Those forms which they talk about, it's very easy to form, start something.
Yes.
But as soon as you start, people start questioning, how are you going this direction? This is probably you could have done better going in this direction. So that's called the storming stage. Then you now have to know. You call people and say, let's agree on the rules. Then once you have agreed on the rules, then you perform. Performance is the one that is supposed to yield the benefits for your mission or the mission to deliver on your mission. But also after some time, of course, the circumstances change and you deform. When you deform, you must reform to go back to the curve, the growth curve. So this is part of it. You internalize those principles in leadership, learning to work with teams. Yes.
So looking back over your long arc of leadership, What would you say is one of your proudest moments when you look back? Proudest moments as a GDAC?
When I say a proud moments, that when you were having gone an enterprise and it yields. So when I was pushing my cartoons to the newspapers and I was being resisted, the frustration was so much. Then suddenly the editor said, no, you can't bring them, let's run them. And they ran them. After about 2 weeks, the newspaper pages, the commentary pages are full of praises.
Oh, no.
But
And when was this? What year did you start this?
the cartoons started immediately after university in 1976 for Ekanya.
Yes.
Bogi Benda in 1981 in Kenya when I ran there. Those are moments. For Ekanya, we were able even to print booklets.
Are you kidding?
The booklets were very popular. And when you say I have worked for them, the disadvantage of going into so many things.
Yes.
You can't. Maybe if I dig deep with my library. But when you see it, your fruits everywhere, then you feel very proud. And then, of course, each stage would bring you, when we did a newspaper, there was no new vision. Do the newspaper, you struggle the whole night, and then the newspaper goes on the streets. We find people reading and discussing issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing that now we take it for granted.
Oh, yes.
But someone had
To create what was not there. There were no books, there were no newspapers, there were no cartoons, there was no radio in the West, there was no museum. So when you, each time to get something and it stands, you feel very proud. And most entrepreneurs don't look for money. Money comes as a result. Practice you are a good entrepreneur and you're preoccupied with money, you better forget your ideas and seeing that the idea, the success of this putting together ideas and they create something. Wow. That's what makes you proud.
Yes. And when you look back also, what is the moment that tested your leadership?
When I moved into the book industry, I moved into education. I was not used to getting money, big money. But the newspapers don't make big money. The cartoons, they would make money through selling books, enough to look after you. So when I went into books, into education, now you are supplying the entire country. And when you supply, you feel very, very proud because you make a lot of money. So you employ people, many people. Then suddenly, because you are supplying government cuts the budget. And you already have a huge budget of manpower, machines. You have already said this. Some books are still there. You have to build the warehouses. Now you find, and there's not much you can do to make the government buy more books. And people start resigning and leaving. Much as you may have hope that things will get better, at that time when you are being challenged, and then more competition comes. But once you have hope and you are clear about where you are going, you recover. I recovered.
So it goes back to your first clarity of mission.
Yes.
Is always important.
Yes.
And now as we talk to those that are coming towards their fourth quarter,
Yes.
it comes inevitably.
Yes.
How would you advise people to prepare to do and to thrive? What would your words of wisdom be?
I think I wouldn't talk like a professional investor to advise people on how they should invest. I would say, first of all, that clarity of mission which drives you, everybody should have that clarity and passion for what you are doing. As you talked about in Mbarara, if you decided to give your life to serve the service of God,
Please.
you will then tailor all your achievements and aspirations to that mission. So that should be the starting and ending point that drives you through life. But as you drive through, of course, you need financial support. You need to support your family. You need the love. You need to love the family. When things are so bad in the office, you have somewhere to go to for solace. First, your wife or your husband, then your children. And then when the children grow, they abandon you, they go to do their own things. So now you look forward to looking at the grandchildren. That's where we are. And to look back and say, yeah, I think it was good I took this direction. It was bad that I went this way, which didn't succeed. It's just as well. And try to minimize regrets.
How does one do that though?
Minimize regrets. By appreciating that life is a vampire course. So you are up, you are down, you are up, you are down, but is the target clear? Unless there is a misfortune and you die or you are injured, but otherwise, and of course, you start off with the desire for material things. But then material things you also discover they don't satisfy. Now you go to even before you go to the spiritual, you go to the humanity, what the cause for humanity. That's why people now commune themselves politics. People want to fight for causes. Those are not spiritual in the sense. You are interested in the humanity. And then you can go spiritual afterwards. So I think you need to go through those phases, the material phase, the humanity phase, and the spiritual phase. You need to have empathy for people of humanity to appreciate how they like other people to also live. That's why when you employ people, they need to understand that what they are doing is for their own good. They are not doing it to satisfy the employer. No.
It's for that.
The mission is clear and we are all part of that mission, so we shall go with you. Otherwise, how would I produce 5,000 books? We can't. How do you run the radio? My radio was in Mbarara and I was here. The Igongo is in Mbarara and I'm here. So once you have created the mission, once you have identified the mission and created the 7 M's to support it, people will read with you and you carry them along.
Yes. Yes. I think finally, what would you want to be most remembered for?
For my culture, supporting my culture. I believe in our culture and traditions. They can be modified, they can be modernized, but it's very important to have belief in ourselves as Africans. We start off belief in yourself, belief in your family, belief in your maybe I'd call it ethnic group or culture groups. Because ethnicity is negative. People have built, it's really exclusive, but culture is inclusive. Culture, when we talk of Banyakore, I don't know what Bugaro is. Zimchiga. You are talking about people who share so much. And you find that if you know the Banyachijes group, whom I work with quite a lot, you see people really motivated by their identity and by their dance, by helping their community, by surely that drives you. There are people who say, I may not have done much, but I have supported Banyachijes. Yes. Now when you support Banyenda, it means that you don't support Uganda. Ugandans benefit from the success of Banyakigezi. Igongo does a lot for Baganda. Baganda love Igongo sometimes more than Banyankore. Yes, and Bachiga, if you know a man called Munini Munini Mbarara is a great fan of Igongo. Mchiga, Karwemera used to be. Because there is a lot to share, to build on. So for me, that is what I want to be remembered. That we've said that our cultures can be a source of inspiration.
Yes. A source of pride,
Pride.
a source of beauty.
And you can exploit that history, music, food, clothes, fashions, literature. So I'm very proud of that. We helped. I used to debate with my wife when I was starting the radio. I said, can you have adverts in Runyankore Tiga? He didn't know. You won't see adverts in Uganda and English. But now, if you hear the adverts in Runyankore Tiga and Urtoro, for that matter, if you hear the girls, it was difficult to get girls on the microphone. They were so shy. They were so scared because in Runyankore, you are not supposed to be outspoken as a woman. So when we started the radio, and you know, in the radio, you have to mention this and quarrel, and they made it. I said, it was very hard to get the right. But we encouraged them to sing, even singing and to be known. Everybody was so suppressed. But we brought them out, and now here they have was the musicians from West as good as anywhere. Yes, so I am very proud of that. Yes.
We're proud to partake of that heritage, and that's why we're telling this story through footprints. Thank you so much, Dr. James Tumusiime, for sharing a bit of your story. And we take the lessons. The 7 M's are powerful, but culture is it's what identifies us, it's what distinguishes us, and it's also what unites us. So at the end of the day, Annie, thank you for playing that big role in our cultural expression. For those who have been listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, when we bring you another amazing episode from another elder for Footprints Podcast.